Nova Terra was beautiful. It was a green world on the edge of the galaxy, a place where Earth had sent its best and brightest to build a new home. The sky was blue, the grass soft underfoot, and the air smelled clean. People came here for peace. There were no soldiers, no warships, only farmers, builders, teachers, and their families. It was a frontier colony, far from the noise of politics and the cold games of power. For 10 years, Nova Terra had known only peace. That peace ended on a Tuesday. A little girl named Lena ran through the fields near her home. She laughed as her dog Pogo chased butterflies. Her father, Captain Jalen Ray, was retired from Earth's Space Navy. He now worked as a farmer, growing food with other settlers. He waved at her from the farmhouse porch. "Come inside soon," he called. "Dinner's almost ready." Lena smiled. 5 more minutes." The sun was setting. Birds flew across the orange sky. Everything felt perfect. Then, the sky turned black. Above Nova Terra, a massive ship entered orbit. It was not human. Its shape was long and sharp like a blade. It had no colors, no lights, just dark metal and a low hum that echoed in the air like thunder. People stopped in the streets. They looked up, confused. Was it a new Earth ship? Jalen Ray's eyes narrowed. He pulled out a small old communicator from his pocket and tried to send a signal to Earth Command. No response. The ship above them made no announcement. No greeting, no warning. Then, it began. The first strike came without sound. A bright beam of energy slammed into the colony's communication center. It exploded into fire. A second blast hit the power grid. Darkness spread across Nova Terra. People screamed. Children ran. Lena grabbed Pogo and started running back to the farmhouse. Her father was already moving. "In the shelter! Now!" he shouted. But it was too late. Small black ships dropped from the sky, like hornets from a nest. They began firing into the streets. Houses exploded. Vehicles were flipped. People burned where they stood. There were no soldiers on Nova Terra. No defense. Only panic. Jalen picked Lena up and ran. He didn't look back. He didn't have to. The screams said enough. Inside their underground shelter, he placed Lena behind a steel wall and handed her the communicator. "If anything happens to me, press this. It will send a message, just a few seconds of signal. It's all we've got." "Daddy, no," Lena cried. "I love you," he said, kissing her forehead. Then he ran back up the stairs. To help, to fight, to die. Lena didn't see him again. Hours passed. Smoke filled the air vents. Pogo whimpered beside her. Lena didn't cry anymore. She just stared at the blinking red light on the communicator. She waited for her father's voice. But all she heard was silence. Then, she heard footsteps above. Heavy ones. Not human. They came closer. Lena held her breath. Her hand shook as she pushed the emergency button. A soft beep. A light flashed. Recording. 10 seconds. She whispered into it, her voice shaking. "This is Nova Terra. They killed everyone. Please help." Then the door above her was torn open, a loud roar. Pogo jumped forward to protect her. Lena screamed. A bright light flashed, and then everything went black. Far away, deep in Earth's Central Command on Mars, a low-level technician named Simon Drek was sipping coffee and staring at a quiet screen. Suddenly the screen flickered. Message came through, corrupted, damaged, only 10 seconds long. He replayed it, a child's voice, terrified, a dog barking, screams in the background, and these words, "This is Nova Terra. They killed everyone. Please, help." Simon froze. His cup fell from his hands and shattered on the floor. He replayed it again, then again. Then he ran. Within minutes, the message reached Earth's Defense Council. Within an hour, it was in front of the Terran president. He sat in silence as the recording played. Then he asked a single question. "Who did this?" The room was silent. An AI officer responded. "We don't know out yet. The president stood up. Find them, and when you do, tell the generals. He paused. His face turned cold. Humanity is awake. Mars Command was the heart of Earth's military. Underground bunkers ran deep under the red planet's surface. Satellites watched every corner of the galaxy. Nothing was supposed to surprise them. But today, something did. Technician Simon Drek stood in front of the top generals and admirals of the Terran Defense Council. His hands shook as he replayed the audio clip, again and again. This is Nova Terra. They killed everyone. Please, help. The voice was weak, frightened, a child's voice. Then came the sounds of screaming, a dog barking, explosions, and then silence. General Marlowe clenched his jaw. Do we know if this is real? Simon nodded. The signal came from Sector 17B. That's Nova Terra's location. The president of the Terran Coalition stood at the front of the room. His face was calm, but his eyes were dark. How many people were on Nova Terra? Over 38,000, sir, another officer replied. Civilians, families, no military presence. The president's voice turned ice cold. And you're saying they were all killed? Simon's voice trembled. Yes, we believe so. The room went quiet. For a long time, no one spoke. Then a woman in a black uniform stepped forward. Her name was Commander Alara Voss, head of Earth's Galactic Intelligence Division. I reviewed satellite data, she said. 2 hours before the message, one unknown vessel entered Nova Terra's orbit. Not human, no ID, no known design. It didn't respond to hails. She tapped a button. A hologram of the alien ship appeared above the table. It was long and dark like a dagger. No known race in the Council uses this shape. No broadcasts, no warnings. Just silence. And then, total destruction. The president leaned forward. They committed war crimes. Yes, sir, she said. They attacked a peaceful colony, no provocation, no mercy. The way they struck, fast, focused, it looks like they planned this. The president looked around the room. I want names. I want faces. And when we find out who did this, I want the wraiths activated. Gasps filled the room. A general stepped forward. Sir, the wraith unit hasn't been deployed in 6 years. Then it's time to wake them up, the president said. This isn't war. This is something darker. He pointed to the screen, where the last frame of the child's message hung frozen. That voice. That's the sound of humanity remembering who we are. Across the galaxy, whispers started to spread. Nova Terra had gone silent. Merchants passing by saw the smoke from orbit but received no response. Some ships tried to land but turned back in fear. The air was still too hot from the fires. Rumors spread like wildfire. They say it was pirates. No, it was the Kraylock Empire. No way. Kraylocks have treaties with Earth. Then who did it? No one had answers. But one thing was clear. Earth was preparing for something big. Deep inside Earth's moon base, in a cold black cell, a red light blinked. A man opened one eye. He was tall, scarred, and silent. His name was Kane Voss, a former Wraith commander. Years ago he vanished after a brutal mission on the border worlds. Now he was being reactivated. The light turned green. A voice spoke through the intercom. Nova Terra has fallen. You're needed. Kane stood up without a word. Elsewhere in the frozen mountains of Titan, a woman named Ray Sorn was practicing knife drills alone in the snow. Her blade was faster than the wind. She hadn't spoken to anyone in years. But when she saw the message from Nova Terra, her hand tightened around the blade. Time to go back, she whispered. Back on Earth, the Terran Defense Council prepared for war. Fleet Admiral Holt walked into the orbital dockyards. Giant warships floated in space, silent and waiting. One of them, TNS Vengeance, was a stealth dreadnought never used in open war before. He turned to his officers. Refuel it, arm it. This ship flies at dawn. In the shadows, hidden satellites began to wake up. Weapons long buried in the ice of Europa were powered up again. The Earth that once dreamed of peace was now preparing to strike. At the president's office, Commander Ilara Voss laid a file on his desk. "This is our list of suspects," she said. "Unknown fleets, blacklisted species, rogue warlords." The president looked through the names. One caught his eye, the Zarnathi Dominion. "They were quiet during the last war," he said. "They believe fear keeps enemies in line," Ilara replied. "Novaterra fits their style, fast, brutal, without reason." He nodded slowly. "Then let's give them a reason to remember us." That night, across Earth, one video went live. It was short, just 10 seconds. "This is Novaterra. They killed everyone, please. Help." The video was broadcast on every human colony, every station, every platform. Underneath the message, 5 words appeared and read, "Never again. Earth remembers Novaterra." The galaxy watched in silence. The sleeping giant had opened its eyes, and it was angry. Far from Earth, hidden in deep space, there was a station with no name. It didn't appear on any maps. No public ship could dock there. The walls were black, and the silence was heavy. Inside, everything smelled like metal, oil, and war. This was where Earth kept its monsters, not aliens, not criminals, but humans who had seen too much, lost too much, and become something different, something dangerous. They were called wraiths, and now they were being gathered. Kane Voss stepped into the briefing room. He wore no rank, no patch, no expression, just scars, dozens of them. Each one told a story, none of them happy. 3 other wraiths were already seated. First was Ray Sorn, the silent knife fighter from Titan. Her eyes were cold, her hands never far from her blades. Second, Briggs, a massive man with metal arms and a cybernetic spine. He once took down an enemy base alone when his whole team died. They called him the bulldozer in the dark. Third was Silas, the sniper. He spoke softly, if at all. His eyes looked half dead, like someone who'd already accepted hell and made peace with it. They all looked up when Kane entered. He didn't speak. He just sat down. A hologram lit up in the center of the room. The face of Commander Ilara Voss appeared. "You've all seen the Novaterra footage," she said. 38,000 dead children, families, no warning, no survivors, no one said a word. "Earth has tried peace," she continued. "We followed the rules. But this enemy doesn't care about rules." She paused, then said the words that changed everything. "You're not soldiers anymore, you're hunters, and now it's open season." Back on Earth, inside the high-security military prison on Antarctica, a door opened. The man behind it wore a shock collar and chains on his arms. His name was Dr. Harlan Kriv, a scientist turned war criminal. He had built weapons Earth had never dared to use. Nanite storms, sonic virus bombs, tech so deadly even the Council banned it. Now he was needed again. A general slid a file across the table. It had only 2 words, Novaterra. Harlan laughed. "Oh, they finally woke the giant." The general didn't smile. "You have 48 hours, build something they'll regret." Elsewhere in the dark zone near the Andromeda Rift, Earth spy ships started collecting data. They listened to whispers, tracked heat signatures, decoded secret messages. And again, one name came up. The Zarnathi Dominion, a brutal empire that believed fear was stronger than peace. They had attacked smaller colonies before, but never Earth's. Until now, in a war room on Mars, Admiral Holt stood before Earth's top fleet commanders. "You've all been called because you don't ask questions," he said. On the screen behind him were 5 ships, each one unique, each one illegal by galactic law. "These ships don't carry medbays," he said. "They carry message pods. Each pod contains the footage of Novaterra. We'll leave one on every destroyed enemy ship." A young commander frowned. "So they'll know why we came?" "No," Holt said. so they'll never forget. Back on the Black Station, Kane's team suited up. Their armor was dark and silent. No bright lights, no emblems, only a small red mark on the chest. NT 38112. Nova Terra's colony number. Each Wraith placed a tag on their gear. Not a name. Not a rank. Just the name of a child who died. Kane placed his daughter's tag. Lena Ray. He didn't say a word. He didn't have to. The Wraith ship, the Ghostlight, was launched in total silence. No ceremony, no broadcasts. Only a cold whisper. Across secure channels, they're coming. As the ship moved through deep space, Kane gave the first and only order. No survivors, no negotiations. In the Zarnathi Dominion, the Emperor received a message. It was short. Just 10 seconds. The voice of a human child, filled with fear. "This is Nova Terra. They killed everyone. Please, help." The Emperor laughed. "Let the humans cry. They're soft. They'll beg for peace." But one of his generals wasn't smiling. He had heard of the Wraiths. He knew what Earth did when it stopped caring about rules. "Your Majesty," he said carefully, "if the humans respond, it will not be with words." The Emperor waved him away. A day later, the Zarnathi colony on Rasht Prime went silent. No alarms, no distress signals, just silence. When their warship arrived to investigate, they found no bodies, no explosions, just a single message pod floating in orbit. The recording played automatically. A child's voice. "This is Nova Terra. They killed everyone." Then, another voice, cold, human. "You taught us how to fight without mercy. Now we're your students." The Zarnathi Admiral's hands shook. He finally understood. Earth wasn't coming to fight. Earth was coming to finish it. The Ghostlight moved silently through space. No lights, no beacons. It didn't show on any scanners. It was built to disappear. And the people inside it were already ghosts. Kane Voss sat alone in the weapons bay. His armor rested beside him. His hands were steady, but his mind raced. The face of his daughter, Lena, flashed again and again. Her voice, her final words. That 10-second message burned into his memory. He didn't want justice. He wanted fear. In another chamber, Ray Sorn cleaned her blades. Not for the first time, not for the 10th. She wasn't preparing for battle. She was preparing for something else, punishment. She didn't cry when she heard the Nova Terra recording. She didn't speak when they briefed her. But now, alone, her fingers trembled. She remembered her little brother. He had lived on a colony once, a happy place, a quiet place, until someone bombed it. He was 6 years old. She never found his body. Now she would make sure someone paid. The Wraiths didn't sleep. They didn't eat much. They only trained, loaded gear, and memorized maps. Their first target was a listening post in deep space, controlled by the Zarnathi. It was small, just 20 crew. Not soldiers, not warriors, spies. Perfect. The Ghostlight dropped out of stealth mode just long enough to fire. A pulse beam took out the station's power. Lights flickered, doors sealed. The Zarnathi scrambled, yelling in their own language. Then the air went still. No gunfire, no noise, just the feeling of something wrong. That's when the lights cut off completely, and the Wraiths boarded. One by one, the Zarnathi agents were taken, quietly, swiftly, not killed, not yet. Just stunned and dragged away. When the station's backup power finally came online, the bridge crew realized something terrifying. The Wraiths had left one man alive. He sat tied to the captain's chair. His face was pale, his body shaking. Next, to him, a message pod blinked red. He was found by a Zarnathi patrol ship 5 hours later. The only words he said were, "They didn't speak. They didn't breathe. They moved like shadows. They're coming for all of us." The patrol captain tried to calm him, but the survivor only whispered one last thing before passing out. "They wear the names of the dead." Across the galaxy, colonies began to shut down. Not human colonies, Zarnathi ones. People fled their cities, stations emptied. Old defense systems were pulled from storage, but it was too late. The Wraiths had already marked their second target. On the planet, Felok Prime, a mining colony, worked deep underground. It had no soldiers, only guards with low-grade weapons. At 02:17 local time, the alarms blared, but there was no explosion. No sound of gunfire, only darkness. The elevator shafts stopped working. The lights died. Then came a voice, whispered through every speaker in the base. "This is for Nova Terra." The miners dropped their tools and ran, but one by one, they were found. Each body was left untouched, but beside them lay small metal tags, laser-etched with the names of children from Nova Terra. When the Zarnathi military arrived 12 hours later, they found nothing but silence. And a floating pod at the edge of the atmosphere. Inside was the same message. "They killed everyone. Please, help." Back on Earth, the president stood before the Terran Council. The chamber was silent. Reports had come in, 6 enemy outposts hit. No human casualties. Dozens of Zarnathi captured or missing. No trace of the attackers. "We're receiving threats," one council member said. "They're calling it terrorism." "They called the Nova Terra massacre a mistake," the president replied. "If this is terrorism, then it's the language they taught us." Commander Ilara Voss stood beside him. "Our enemies think we've gone rogue," she said. "Good. Let them. The Wraiths aren't here to follow rules. They're here to teach a lesson." The president nodded slowly. "Then let the galaxy learn." Aboard the Ghostlight, Silas, the sniper, watched the stars from the window. He didn't talk much, but today he whispered something. "We're ghosts now, but we're not lost." Kane Voss heard him. He didn't reply. Instead, he looked at the screen showing their next target, a Zarnathi science vessel, a place where they studied human biology. Rumors said they tested on live prisoners. Kane didn't blink. He just whispered back, "Then let's show them how it feels to be hunted." In a hidden bunker on Zarnathi Prime, the Emperor watched the latest video. He didn't laugh this time. He saw his agents beg for mercy. He saw the message pods, the names, and he realized something chilling. This wasn't war. This wasn't rebellion. This was revenge. And it was only just beginning. For weeks, the galaxy thought Earth would stay quiet, that humans would grieve, that they would send letters, maybe hold peace talks, maybe cry in silence like the weaker species did. But the galaxy forgot something important. Earth may stay silent, but only before the storm. Inside the hidden war room on Mars, Commander Ilara Voss stood in front of a massive digital map. Red dots lit up enemy positions. Yellow lines showed Terran fleet movement, but one dot blinked black. It had vanished. "Ilara," said General Holt, "we lost contact with the Wraiths." She narrowed her eyes. "Good." Holt looked confused. "Good?" She nodded. "If we can't find them, the enemy can't either." Meanwhile, the Zarnathi Senate held an emergency meeting. Panic filled the room. Screens showed destroyed listening posts, blacked-out colonies, and terrified soldiers shaking as they told stories of silent humans in dark armor. The Emperor's advisor stood and spoke. "This is a virus," he said. "It spreads in shadows. We don't know how many there are, or where they will strike next." One senator slammed his hand on the table. "They are just a few humans. Kill them." Another replied, "We already tried. We sent assassins. The assassins never came back." The Emperor finally stood. "No more games," he growled. "Destroy every Earthship in our sectors. Burn their colonies. We strike first." He had made his choice, but he was already too late, because Earth's silence had ended. In orbit, above the moon Zerakai, a Zarnathi research cruiser floated peacefully. Inside, alien scientists worked in cold labs, testing captured human tech. One of them laughed as he tossed a broken toy from Nova Terra into the trash. Then, the power died. The lights flickered and the alarm screamed, and something moved on the lower decks. Security teams rushed into the hallways, but the wraiths were already inside. Briggs came first, crashing through a blast door like a living tank. His fists tore through armor like it was paper. Ray Sorn slipped through shadows, blades dancing in silence. No one saw her coming. They only saw their own blood. Silas fired from high vents, each shot perfect, each victim gone before they hit the ground, and Kane Voss led them all. Silent, deadly, unstoppable. They didn't come to capture. They came to erase. Back on Earth, news started to spread, but not through official channels. Small leaks, whispered rumors, secret videos. People saw the enemy cry, saw the message pods, saw the cold voice of Kane say, "You killed children. Now we will kill your fear." Over and over, until your skies turn black. Millions across Earth watched those videos. And for the first time in history, every human agreed on one thing: the wraiths weren't monsters, they were heroes. In the dark, Kane sat in the command chair. He didn't smile. He didn't relax. He watched the stars move across the screen and spoke to his team. Next target, Rylak Station. They run supply routes. That means weapons. That means war. Briggs cracked his knuckles. More fun, Ray whispered. More names. Silas loaded his rifle. Let's leave another message. Kane nodded. We speak with silence. We teach with fire. At Rylak Station, alarms blared early. They were ready this time. Hundreds of Zarnathi soldiers waited. Cannons charged. Drones scanned the void, but the ghostlight didn't come in guns blazing. It came in silent, like a breath in the dark. Then the sky above the station lit up and vanished. Dozens of enemy ships exploded before they knew they were under attack. Systems failed. Gravity shut down. Chaos ruled. The station's command center watched their defense grid collapse in seconds, and on every screen, a message appeared. This is for NT-38112. The commander of Rylak's tried to escape. He made it to a shuttle, but found a child's necklace on the pilot's seat, and nothing else. His screams were still echoing when the shuttle exploded. No body was ever found. Across the galaxy, smaller alien races began to whisper. Earth is angry. They are hunting now. We should stay out of the way. Even enemies who once mocked humans now locked their gates and canceled patrols. They knew something had changed. Earth wasn't looking for peace. Earth was building fear. In the Wraith's war logs, a message was added. Mission code 13NT, response protocol. Active status, do not engage. Do not interfere. Do not approach. Comment. Humanity is not angry. Humanity is focused. The Emperor's final mistake was trying to strike back. He sent 5 dreadnoughts to intercept the ghostlight. They never returned. Only a message pod arrived. It showed the ships burning, and then Kane's face. We didn't want this war, but you brought it to our door. Now we bring it to yours. They thought they still had time. They thought the wraiths were just a small group, just ghosts. They were wrong, because on one cold morning, the stars began to vanish. In the central city of Zarnathi Prime, alarms screamed across the skies. People looked up, and they froze. At first it looked like clouds, but clouds didn't move in perfect formation. Clouds didn't block signals. Clouds didn't glow red from underneath. What they were seeing was a Terran fleet, hundreds of stealth ships, war cruisers, dreadnoughts, unregistered, unscanned, unstoppable. One by one, the stars above the capital disappeared behind dark metal. Children cried, soldiers ran, leaders screamed orders, but it was too late. The ghostlight was no longer alone. Kane Voss stood at the front of the new flagship, TNS Vengeance. His voice was calm. This isn't war anymore. This is memory. This is message. We're going to burn fear into their bones. The wraiths were no longer a secret unit. They were now the tip of the spear. Behind them came Earth's forgotten weapons. Project Eclipse, Omega Class. War AI, The Leviathan. Engines, all banned by the Galactic Treaty. All now activated. At the Zarnathi Defense Center, General Kuln watched his screens go black one by one. His fleets disappeared, satellites died. Then, his own power grid shut down. The entire capital fell into darkness. And then came the message. Not a voice, just text. Red, slow, blinking on every screen in every building. Nova Terra burned. Now you will understand the cost. Panic exploded across the city. People flooded the streets. Ships tried to escape. But the sky was a net. No one got out. From orbit, Earth ships didn't fire on buildings. They didn't bomb cities. They did something worse. They activated the silence field. It shut off all communication, all tech, all signals. Hospitals went dead. Airports froze. Defense towers shut down. In seconds, a planet of billions was reduced to silence, and then the lights in the sky started falling. Drop pods. Thousands of them. Each one carrying only one Terran. Kane. Voss dropped first. His armor slammed into the ground near the main government hall. Guards raised their weapons. He didn't even slow down. The first wave of bullets hit his shield and melted. His rail blade cut through steel and bone. In less than 3 minutes, the Capital Command Center was taken. Kane walked through the blood-soaked halls, his boots heavy, his face empty. He reached the Emperor's throne, but it was empty. Cowards always ran first. Across the city, the wraiths moved like shadows. Briggs tore through heavy bunkers. Ray moved through back streets, leaving silent symbols on walls. Silas took down snipers before they blinked. Each wraith carried a list, names of the generals, scientists, and pilots who took part in the Nova Terra massacre. And one by one, those names were crossed off. In orbit, Alara Voss stood on the bridge of the command ship. She watched the planet spin below her, dark, powerless, silent. A junior officer whispered, "Ma'am, this feels like overkill." Alara didn't even look at him. She just answered, "Nova Terra was a message, this was the reply." Meanwhile, survivors on the ground whispered to each other. They saw Terrans walking through streets with torches, lighting candles in front of destroyed buildings. No looting, no bombing, just quiet symbols, names, photos. Children's shoes left, on palace steps. A lullaby from Earth played across hacked public speakers. "Sleep now, little star. The dark can't hurt you more." The Zarnathi had never known fear like this, not from screaming, not from blood, but from the silence of humans who had finally had enough. After 12 hours, Earth forces retreated. They didn't stay. They didn't declare victory. They just left. But they left behind something worse than ruins. They left behind warnings. In every city, they placed a statue. It was a Terran soldier kneeling, holding the body of a child. And at the base, words carved in 10 languages. "You burned our hope. Now we burn your memory." The Galactic Council called for emergency talks. But Earth refused to answer. They no longer cared what the Council thought. They had sent their message, and the galaxy had received it. In the months that followed, not a single attack on human colonies was reported. Pirate activity dropped by 92%. Border conflicts? Gone. Because everyone now remembered. You can wound Earth once, but if Earth wakes up angry, you won't live long enough to regret it. The galaxy had never been this silent. After the fall of Zarnathi Prime, no one dared speak against Earth. Not in public, not in the halls of power, not even in whispers. But pressure grew. The Galactic Council, once a powerful union of over 200 species, was now divided and afraid. Some called Earth heroes, others called them monsters. And a few demanded something unthinkable: bring Earth to trial. In a great golden chamber above the world of Verax, the first emergency war crimes tribunal in galactic history began. It was supposed to judge Earth's retaliation. 7 races sat as judges. Only one seat was left empty. Earth's. Kane Voss wasn't there. Commander Alara Voss wasn't there. Instead, Earth sent a single AI, a woman's face made of light, calm, cold, her voice echoed without emotion. I am Aegis. I will speak for Earth. The judges didn't like it, but they had no choice. The trial began with angry words. You destroyed 5 colonies. You used banned weapons. You caused fear across peaceful worlds. The AI listened, never blinked, never argued. Until the lead judge, a tall creature with burning eyes, asked, Do you deny these acts? Aegis replied in one sentence, We do not deny, we explain. Suddenly, the walls of the courtroom lit up with holograms, images of Nova Terra. Children in burning classrooms, hospitals torn in half, civilians crying out for help, one by one. Every file Earth had on the massacre was displayed. Audio, video, names, timelines. Then came the proof of Zarnathi orders, documents signed by top generals calling Nova Terra a test zone. Gasps filled the chamber. Some judges turned pale. Others looked away. Earth had come prepared. Then Aegis spoke again. You accuse us of war crimes. But what is a crime, if no law was broken to begin with? The room went quiet. She continued. When Nova Terra burned, no one was punished. No trial. No arrests. The council stayed silent. That silence gave us permission. You taught us what justice meant. One of the judges slammed his fist. You used fear. You destroyed cities. Aegis replied calmly. And yet we killed fewer than you did in one day. A chart appeared behind her. Simple, undeniable math. Nova Terra, 1.2 million Nars. Dead. Terran strikes, 312 confirmed casualties. All military, all on the list of those responsible. The message was clear. Earth had been precise. Deadly. Yes, but never careless. Outside the trial, across the galaxy, things were changing. On colony worlds, murals of the Wraiths appeared. On war-torn planets, humans were suddenly welcomed as allies. Even species that once feared Earth now respected it, because Earth had done what no one else dared. It punished the untouchable. Back in the chamber, the final verdict was near. But Aegis had one more thing to show. A short video, a recording from a Zarnathi prison ship, one where human prisoners had been used for biological experiments. The camera zoomed in on a small girl in a metal cage. Barely. Breathing, she whispered, Mommy? Then the screen went dark. The silence that followed was heavy. One of the judges, a soft-skinned elder, whispered, What have we become? The verdict was announced. Earth was found not guilty. Instead, the Galactic Council officially declared the Zarnathi leadership as war criminals. Sanctions were placed, arrests were made, and for the first time in history, a human AI bowed in a galactic courtroom. Aegis spoke one last time. We did not come for revenge. We came to remind the stars that Earth remembers. Outside the courtroom, a reporter tried to speak to the AI's avatar. Does this mean it's over? Aegis paused and then said, We gave the galaxy a chance to police itself, but if it fails again, Earth won't send messages next time. It will send silence. Far away, on a quiet ship drifting through a nebula, Cain Voss watched the stars. He held a small necklace in his hand, his daughter's. Ray stood beside him, silent. Silas polished his rifle. Briggs laughed quietly at a joke no one else heard. They had won, but they didn't celebrate, because they knew the truth. Peace never lasts, and Earth never forgets. It was quiet now, the war was over. The trial was done, and the galaxy stood still, waiting. No one dared attack Earth again. No one sent threats. No one even spoke Earth's name without respect or fear. But Earth wasn't finished yet. They had one last message. In a quiet sector of space deep beyond any charted trade routes, a strange satellite came online. It spun slowly. Its surface was black and polished. No weapons, no signals, just a soft, glowing screen. And then, it began to speak. It broadcast in every known galactic language, and even a few that hadn't been heard for centuries. The message wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. It was something else. Calm, cold, final. To the stars, the message began. This is Earth. Many of you forgot us. Many of you believed we were weak, peaceful, soft. You were wrong. The message continued, slow and steady. We gave the galaxy kindness. You gave us silence when our children died. You gave us treaties when our cities burned. You gave us speeches while our people screamed. And when we rose to defend ourselves, you called us monsters. The feed showed images now, Nova Terra, burned and broken. Then the ghost light, silent above a dead battlefield. Then the faces of Cain Voss and his team. Not smiling, not angry, just watching. We do not come to rule you. We do not want your planets. We do not seek revenge. But if you ever touch a single human world again, the screen flashed, ships exploded, towers fell, the stars turned black, then it returned to silence. We will not send warnings next time. No letters, no speeches, no trials. We will simply arrive. And when we arrive, your skies will darken. On dozens of planets, people watched this message with fear. Leaders canceled war plans. Pirate fleets vanished. Weapons factories shut down. Because Earth had changed everything. They had redrawn the rules. In the human capital, Earth's leaders held no victory parade. There were no celebrations, only remembrance. They built a black wall in the center of Nova Terra's ashes, and on it, in tiny silver letters, were carved the names of every soul lost. No statues, no speeches, just silence. Cain Voss visited the wall alone. He placed the necklace, his daughter's at the base. He didn't say a word. Behind him, Elara Voss stood quietly. They'll remember. This day, she said. Cain shook his head. No, he replied. They'll remember her. Far in space, the ghost light floated in deep orbit. Ray cleaned her blades. Briggs slept, one hand on a cannon. Silas wrote a list. The names had stopped, but he still wrote. The war was over, but the watch had begun. Aegis, Earth's AI voice now, existed in a single core orbiting Sol. She updated one final log entry. Threat level, reduced. Action required, none. Message sent, complete. Then she added one last line. Earth will remain silent until it must speak again. Years passed. Children across alien worlds learned Earth's story in school. They learned about Nova Terra. They learned about the Wraiths. And they learned the most important rule of all. Never wake a sleeping Terran and never touch what they love. The satellite kept spinning, never stopping, always broadcasting. Some called it the Sentinel. Others called it the Warning. Star. But humans had another name for it. The Memory. And on the final frame of its message, carved into a simple steel plate, were the last words Earth would ever speak to the galaxy. We are not gods. We are not demons. We are only human. But that is enough.